It's been running through my head, locked and loaded. I got the feeling that you know it. Yeah, I've only just begun. I won't stop until it's done, till you're broken. So welcome to the fire. I'm the one with the lighter. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. So welcome to the fire. Welcome to the fire. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. So welcome to the fire. I've been waiting for this moment, the final battle of the chosen. See, I'm never gonna quit, got my legacy set in motion. So welcome to the fire. I'm the one with the lighter. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. So welcome to the fire. Welcome to the fire. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. Welcome to the fire. Welcome to the fire. 'Cause the bigger they are, the harder they fall. You build your fortress and I'll climb your walls. You got your armor, but I see your flaws. So welcome to the fire. I'm the one with the lighter. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. So welcome to the fire. Welcome to the fire. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. Bigger they are, the harder they fall.
You blow my mind. I don't know if you know yet. I've tried some time, and I'm dying I was standing outside waiting, waiting for you. You were always taking time, baby, playing it through. I was calling out your name, with my eyes on the wall. You were running like a ghost from me. You were running from it all. You got me waiting, I'm on fire. You got me waiting, my desire. Keep on moving to the purpose now, to the ending of the ocean. Keep on moving to the purpose now, to the ending of the ocean. You've been playing my mind lately, turn it around. Once I thought you were mine, baby, we're safe and sound. You got me waiting, I'm on fire. You got me waiting, my desire. I follow your heartbeat. Keep on moving to the purpose now, to the ending of the ocean. Keep on moving to the purpose now, to the ending. I follow your heartbeat away, away, away. I follow your heartbeat away. Keep on moving to the purpose now, to the ending of the ocean.
Yo! What's up, everyone? Oh, I did the wrong one. Sorry. There we go. I missed one. I missed one, Will. I missed one. That was my bad.
That's fine.
Last.
I did my yo off camera for nothing.
You did. Yes. Even though you said you weren't going to do a yo, so we'll just go with that. It's fine. Will, how are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, thanks for hanging out with us. And so thank you everyone for joining us on this fine Saturday. This is officially the last live Guy in a Cube live stream of 2020. We will pick things up back in January. And Will had an amazing idea when we decided on doing this. And he said, hey, what are your thoughts of having a little game where if the answer to the question is it depends, Will is going to donate some money to a charity. And I said, well, let's take this up a level and let's just add a charity fundraiser to the live stream itself so everyone can participate. And definitely appreciate all of the donations so far. You guys are awesome. And so now, to be clear, this is not every time we say it depends. It's just when the answer to the question is it depends, right? So there may be multiple it depends as part of that. So I know Patrick was getting ready for a lot of fun there. So
it depends.
Yes.
It depends.
Yeah,
It depends. It depends.
Yep. So Will would be doing that from a Guy in a Cube perspective also. So the super chat is not available this live stream. Instead, it's been replaced with donate. So as you do that, it's just going directly to the charity, which is WCF. So the World or WCK. Sorry, the
WCK.
World. Yeah, WCK, World Central Kitchen. And so they are helping, they are just helping to provide hurricane relief, as well as relief to those affected by COVID-19. So there's a lot of people that are without food, and so they are helping with that. And so it's great. So we just want to help support that and help make sure people have some food during the holiday season. So much appreciated. All right. So first off, also, well, not first off, we've already done some things. So, but thank you to all of the members of Guy in a Cube. Just really appreciate everything you've done in helping us to do what we do, take it to the next level. So it's always appreciated. If you want to find out more about that, you can hit the join button down below if you're on the browser, or I think it's over on the side if you're on a mobile device. So you can take a look at that. At the 30-minute mark of this live stream, we will cut over to member-only chat. Everyone can still watch, but it will only be for member chat itself. And normally super chats would take priority, but the way the donation items work, donations have replaced super chats, so there are no super chats in this stream. So just be aware of that. Get your questions in. Chatmaster C is standing by. Please put a Q colon in front of them, and please do not spam the question. Once it's done once, we queue it up. We get to as many as we can, and hopefully as many of them will have "it depends" as the answer as possible. And then we will put you in a timeout if you do spam the question. Chatmaster C is standing by, as well as all the moderators, and so that will happen. Three-strike rule. All right. What am I missing? I think we got everything.
It's funny. I don't think I've ever heard the start of a stream before because it's quite early.
Yeah,
And
you had to get up
If
early.
I joined in the chat, I'm in bed and it's about 20 minutes. From now, and eventually.
There's some housekeeping we got to do as part of this. So you'll notice it is dark behind Will. So he's up in the Seattle area, and
It's so dark.
It's dark right now.
The light. The sky is actually getting light now.
Daylight is breaking through. Okay, that's good. Will's feeling a little normal. All right. Well, let's get into the question. Again, thank you so much for everyone that's donating right now. It is amazing. Just as a call out, we are sitting at $424 so far donated. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah. All right. Let's get into the questions. Matthias is going to start us out with the Power BI Web Connector only allows anonymous authentication, which is a no-go for many business cases with sensitive data, e.g. reports from the cloud-based ERP. Is there a workaround? So I will add that, well, first off, it depends. So it absolutely depends on this one. But
kind of does. It kind of does. Right. Just have a little sound.
Ding, I know. I wish I had like a counter of some kind. So congratulations, Matthias, on the first one. So let me head over to my machine real quick. And so one thing I wanted to do, let me get that out of there. And if we go to, so I'm just going to go to the web connector. And nope, that wasn't it. Let me grab the link I had. Do that. And then you'll see here, there's more than just anonymous, right? So Windows Basic, Web API, and org account. Org account is technically like the Office 365. If you're doing some sort of other OAuth type implementation, I don't know actually if that would work with the org account, because I think that's specific to the Office 365 piece of it. So, but I have seen other people do things in terms of like Power Query where they can do some custom web calls to get like a token of some kind and do that as part of the call as well. So there are some options here. So I don't know, Matthias, like what specific auth that you're looking for. If it's not OAuth, you could try using basic auth and seeing if that works as part of it. But I'd need more
the hardest
details on
thing
that.
I've seen when people are trying to do this kind of authentication to some web app is when you've got a form to fill in. You know, it's when it's like I've got a username and password to put in, and it's not using OAuth and all that sort of stuff. And we just don't have a way to like make HTTP post requests to a page like that. The other option, of course, would be build a custom connector. I mean, it might work if the system you're connecting to has got an API that you can do all the authentication to, and you can be doing it in code then. But yeah, that is it's a different level of expertise required to go and write a custom connector. Yes,
it is. So, all right. So Matthew had kind of a fun question. Will, I will let you solely answer this, and you decide how you want to go. So if I'm using large models in Premium Gen 2 and my home 10 is in North Europe, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop?
This is a trick question because you can't get a Tootsie Roll in North Europe. Do you know what? So I've never had a Tootsie Roll.
I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing. I was like, can you get one of those?
You know the little mini ones that you get. I've had one of those. You could stuck it in my mouth, and it came
you could
out
bring one
about
with
2 seconds
you
later because they're disgusting.
Bring one with you. I was hoping for a different answer, but okay.
I know you were, but
I left that up to you. So, all right. More serious questions afoot. All right, Alan's got a question here. So I have filters that I need to apply to multiple calculate measures. Is there a way to write the filter once, reuse in multiple calculates? Calculate expression, reusable filter. He had a follow-up on that, saying that he looked at calculation groups, but they seemed opposite of what he was after.
Yeah, the calc group's kind of the other way around. It's like I've got a thing that I want to apply a bunch of different calculations around, rather than I've got a calculation that I want to apply. I suppose there's lots of calculations that I want to apply filters to. We really need table valued measures, right? This is the feature that Marco and Alberto keep pestering us for, amongst other folks. The idea of kind of like taking like a variable that you can write in one measure and reference many times in a measure. I want to be able to do that with like a table of a list of values.
Nice. Yeah.
Have it in my model that I can just refer to all over the place. There's I can't think of any easy workarounds for that. Easy ways of doing that. Short of like building a calculator table.
Yep.
If the filter set that you're going to be using isn't dynamic, then you could do that. Stick it in a calculator table, and then you've just got a thing that you can reference. But if it's going to adjust, and if it's going to be based on selections that people are making or other filters that are being applied, it may not do exactly what you need it to.
Yep. All right.
Chris,
I don't have anything
said
to add to that.
Everyone should send Will Tootsie Pops. Do not send me Tootsie Pops.
Yes.
I've had Tootsie Rolls, and I do not like them. So I'm assuming a Tootsie Roll Pop, whatever that is.
Well, it's the same thing. Yeah, it's just candy coated on the outside.
Well, it's a pop.
Like that.
It's a pop
yes,
with
but
the
it's got a
roll.
Tootsie Roll in the middle.
But it's the same stuff. It tastes the same. It tastes
Well, maybe your kids would like
delicious.
it.
Do you know what? They don't either. They it's not that. I mean, obviously we feed them proper chocolate and we give them all the proper English
proper chocolate,
British candy and stuff. They do like American candy as well. Like Halloween, since Halloween they've been sort of going through all the stuff that we had that was left over, but they don't like Tootsie Rolls either.
All right. Back to the questions. Dinesh had a question here. Any special button to keep in visual to export the data instead of the context menu export to data? It'll be very user friendly.
Isn't there a custom visual that does this?
I don't know.
Didn't I see a custom visual that was like an export button, effectively?
Yeah, I don't recall hearing about one.
Maybe I'm thinking of something that somebody put together to demo the upcoming Power Automate button. I'm going to put in a plug for an upcoming feature.
Yeah, because that could hook into the export API, and we've got the custom Power BI ones to do the export there as well. So that'd be interesting. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Lance Lance, is there a way to see the most frequent DAX queries being sent to a data set? Interesting. Patrick?
Use the Mecum.
Use the Mecum. Okay, that doesn't actually do it. Oh my goodness. Yeah. What's the Mecum? Yeah. There's a video that Patrick did a while back about Power Query, and like, he was very proud of it.
You would need to have some type of we're gonna have the diagnostics, right? The Azure
bring your own log analytics
thing connected,
Azure Monitor,
right? Connected, but right now, like if you want to do it proactively, you'd have to connect something to the XMLA endpoint to monitor the queries that's coming through, like DAX Studio or SQL Profile or something like that, and you can see the queries coming through.
Yeah, Matthew's adding on to you there.
Anyway,
that's the use case for bring your own log analytics and the upcoming Azure Monitor integration. By default, that is going to dump out the AS trace information at first, so the dataset trace information, which will be the queries coming into the engine from the visuals. So, and this is similar to like if you're in Power BI Desktop, you could use DAX Studio to get that information as well. And then you could just query to see what's the most frequent one that's there. So that is going to be a premium item though at first. So, and possibly at all. I don't know. Yep. And then Alex said release the Mecum. So
thank you, Alex.
Yes. Alex knows. Alex knows.
I'm just thinking of who's that? Isn't there so it may not be Marvel? Isn't there a character who sounds like Mecum or Mikan or Mikan? It's like a flying brain dude with.
I don't even remember what the.
What's that from?
I know which one you're talking about.
I don't even remember what Mecum stood for, man.
It was Mashup Engine Query Monitor.
Mashup Engine Query Monitor. There you go. Wow. Yeah. The Mecum.
All right. Akil's got a question here. I have a column with 75 million unique values and is unusable in reports since it's hitting query memory limits, not configured in Premium Gen 2 in all visuals. Any suggestions other than splitting the column? So I would hope you're doing some sort of aggregation on that column. Like, well, are you just trying to, do you just have a flat table and you're trying to pull everything in, or typically you're going to have some aggregation there that's going to be doing that, I would think. So I would want to look at what you're actually doing there and see if there's ways to optimize the DAX that you're writing and or the data model that you've got to hopefully filter down those items so it's not pulling back 75 million unique values. So,
because that's what I would think, right? You'd have some type of filter on the page, and you're not. I mean, I got 75 million values. I can't consume 75 million values at a glance.
But some of this you can hit. So, it's not necessarily that you're showing those 75 million values. It could be that the query is making a storage engine call that's pulling back that to satisfy what the formula engine needs to be.
But that's what I'm saying. So I need to set my filters ahead of time before I try to pull all 75 million back to display in any type of element or page or whatever it is beforehand. Because why?
So, Will, any thoughts?
Yeah.
I think your comment about aggregations is good. I mean, the thing is, if your visual is like a table where you've got a list of all of those unique values and then some count against them, if it's sorting on the count, right? So I want to see the one with the highest count first. We've got to do a table scan over all of those to figure out the aggregation for each of those values to know which one to put at the top.
Right.
I think. I'm not an engine expert, nor do I claim to play one on TV, but I think like you'd end up doing that anyway. So that's why the aggregations are so important.
Yeah. So I think
as Patrick says, right? You know, you've got to be drilling down through those and filtering it first filtering on that column or related.
I think it's safe to say. Oh, actually, Akil had a follow up here. He says if I drag the column to the filter pane, it won't display any values. then that's weird.
That's interesting.
So one thing I would say overall with this question is definitely it depends.
Yeah,
because
definitely depends.
Definitely
Definitely
depends.
depends. This is definitely depends on.
So yes, so yay for that. So we would really need more details about you go ahead.
He's saying he's getting a memory error, and
right.
So are you able to process this and load this all the way into the service? Are you using your desktop? I'm curious, where are you getting this error at? That's the first thing, right?
So query memory limit is a specific error. So
is that what he says he's getting?
The original question said query memory limit. So, and then Marco, he agrees with it. Depends.
Yeah.
The scan time of the column could take too long. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad I was right. So it's nice to market validate is what I was thinking, because he knows more about it than I do. We're all kind of making an assumption that this is an import mode.
Yes. Now, my first assumption was this was direct query. So when I start seeing query memory limits,
there's the 1 million row limit there.
Yeah, there is that
connected to a data set.
Anything you're doing in the visual should have like a top 1,000 applied to it by the visuals, so it shouldn't matter.
Yep.
Live Connect, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
To a data set, but what's the data set though?
Well, I know, but it's going to be
what is it?
It's probably import. Yeah. All right, let's get Okay,
right.
Matthew and Alex. Yeah, I was about to do it, but Matthew and Alex got it. All right, cool. So it depends. There's a lot more details we would need, Akil, on that to understand like what's actually going on. In general, try to filter things down so it's not, trying to do some funky things, right? Make sure it's not a janky model, things of that nature. So
yeah. Make sure you can get your model. Yeah, check that your model doesn't require you to have 75 million row. Is there a way to model it in a different way that you can split that up more easily? You said the answer shouldn't be split the column, but
Marco actually brought up a good point. So about like bidirectional could be causing a problem as well with oversampling, things of that nature. So definitely, it just goes back to make sure the model's tidy, clean, and make sure you're filtering the right way to try and limit those things. So, all right, cool.
Hey, people are starting to use your technical term there,
janky.
Janky. People are using Dono and
In fairness, that was Patrick's term, and I co-opted it. So one thing I just want to call out real quick. So Jason Wiley, thank you so much for hanging out with us. He has normally been a lurker and never actually participated in the chat. So thank you for that. Merry Christmas. Glad to have you. All right, back to the questions. Let's see here. Ifran, is Power BI Premium Gen 2 and Premium per user the same thing? No, they are not. In fact, we just did 2 videos on introducing Premium per user and introducing Premium Gen 2, so definitely go check those out. Now, I will say that Premium per user is backed on the Gen 2 infrastructure, so that is safe to say, but Premium per user is a named license item per user, whereas Premium Gen 2 or Premium capacity is a subscription from a core perspective. So, yep. Cool. All right, let's see here. Let me get to one. Let's see here. I want to get a good one for Will here. Oh, here we go. Daniel's got you covered. So of note, Will, and I should have said this in the beginning, and I didn't. For those that don't know, Will, his background. Yeah. I made an assumption there. I'm sorry.
Somebody said, "Could you describe your job?" Actually,
yes,
there was a question like that. Fernando,
let's do that.
Just ask that. So let's do the introduction.
Yes, sorry,
I'm Will Thompson.
It's totally my bad.
For those of you who don't know me,
we talk with Will like every day, so I didn't even think about it.
Yeah. Just had to make that assumption.
Yes.
Okay, so at the moment, I am I don't know exactly what my title is at the moment, the lead PM for Power BI creators. So basically anything that you do in Power BI desktop or as a creator of reports and content on the web, that's my area.
Formerly,
I
it was
manage a team of other PMs.
Yep. Formerly, it was Power BI desktop specifically, and then it kind of changed with a reorg.
Well, recently we've got a bit of a purview over the web as well. And I've spent time as the PM who looked after. I started off looking after the visual space, and then I looked after the modeling of the DAX area, and then stepped up to look after the whole team. You'll probably know me from a bunch of videos. That's where most people recognize my voice, if not my face. Videos.
The whole guided learning, all the guided learning with Amanda.
The whole guided learning thing. Yeah, exactly. So that's me. I've been on the Power BI team since day one. In fact, since before that.
The other thing I'm going to add here.
Doing my job. Go on.
I was going to say, Will, also, could you describe your job? The first answer to that should be, well, it depends, right?
It depends.
Right.
It does. My job can be very different from day to day. Yeah, thanks for that.
Number 3.
Chatmaster C, by the way, Chatmaster C is keeping tally, by the way. So,
very good. Thank you. All right. It really does, because it can vary from day to day. Funnily enough, so this is now the third time that I've done this week. I've spoken to a couple of other people who are looking for a job at Microsoft as a PM, and they said, "Can we have a quick chat? What do you do? What is your day job? What does it look like?"
What is it you say you do
ultimately,
here?
It's about. Ultimately, it's about listening to customers, understanding what they're trying to do with the product, what the business goals they're trying to achieve are, and then translating it into technical requirements for our engineers, our developers, to actually go and write some code. That's effectively the crux of it, but that can take so many different forms, because obviously we've got a ton of different customers, from enterprise customers who folks on the CAT team like Patrick and Adam deal with all the time, to the broad set of customers who are just maybe individual people using it, and we listen to you through forums, through YouTube, through Twitter, through wherever.
Yep.
But then we've also got folks like internal partner teams who are using Power BI. The Dynamics organization embed a load of Power BI stuff into their products. Listening to Microsoft Research. I love talking to Microsoft Research. They always come up with these crazy ideas. I don't know how many of you know Charticulator, so like a tool that Microsoft Research created. We're working with them, and we're kind of coming up with new innovations that we're going to build into the product. And then on the backside, right? Yeah, there's all the let's design a feature. Let's figure out how is this feature going to work. And I, as a PM, write the spec and say it's going to do this, and you click this, and this is going to happen. We work with designers to work out exactly how it's going to look and how it's going to behave. We work with engineers to figure out the technical limitations and everything, and ultimately get the thing shipped. And then listen for feedback, and the cycle continues. So that's the job of a PM.
Excellent. All right. So thank you for everyone to help correct that faux pas on my part. Okay, so with that, Daniel's got a question right up your alley, Will. When is the December release going to be released?
When it's ready.
So it depends.
So it depends. We always aim for the second Monday of the month. So the second Monday of the month will be this coming Monday. This release, though, has got some huge features in it. So we are really excited because the composite models over analysis services thing is coming. Yep. And because the small multiples feature is coming.
Yes.
Preview for both of those.
I remember,
along with some other stuff as well. I mean, it's not like that's it.
Yeah, I think it was last week Patrick looked at the release notes for it, and he's just like, wow, this is a big release. And I'm like, yes. Merry Christmas to everyone.
Yeah, all my videos.
Happy Hanukkah, happy holidays.
First quarter of next year. All my videos for the first quarter of next year are already set because it's so much stuff in December.
So much. Awesome.
Yeah, so because there's these big features and they touch a huge area of the product, and there's lots of stuff to test against, the likelihood of us seeing issues at the last minute that might push things out, combined with the fact that I don't know how well known this is, but Microsoft, we try and avoid deploying stuff around holidays. Like this is an Azure-wide thing because we don't want Walmart's Azure services to fall over on Black Friday, right?
Yep. Business continuity.
Retailers use it. So business continuity is really, really important. And because Power BI, the service component, we have to go and make sure that that's matches up with the desktop release as well. Sometimes there are delays with that, or things don't get deployed, so we have to match these things up, and that might push the December release out a little bit as well. So aiming for Monday, but it depends.
Yep. Cool. And then Augusto's got a question following up on that. We already answered it, but we're going to go and throw it up there in case. Will we have composite models preview on December release? And this is the direct query against Power BI data sets. Will? You said it before.
Yeah,
say it again.
Yeah, we will.
This one is a
it's
definite
really
yes.
Exciting.
Right. This
is
not.
Definite. Yeah, there's no it depends about
There's no
this
it depends on this one.
We
this
will have it
yes.
in the December release.
Yes.
And so that's why I'm wearing my Christmas sweater, because I'm getting a Christmas gift. That's why. I'm getting Christmas gifts as soon as possible. Right, Will?
That's right. That's right. Will's got you covered. So enough note, just a preview. We will have a video next Wednesday with Tessa Herr, who's a PM on the team focused on that feature. So we've got a video dropping on Wednesday about the new direct query and Power BI data sets. So a little preview of that. And it's going to be exciting. Patrick hoped to have done that video, but he had internet issues, so I had to jump in and do it. But we got it done.
That's all right. That's all right. We got it done.
And then, Will, you mentioned that you try to drop the desktop releases on the second Monday of the month. One clarifying thing I'll add to that, because they're like, well, wait a second, the blogs usually come out on Tuesday, and so the actual release goes out to the download center and whatnot Monday, and then the blog typically drops that Tuesday after. So.
Well, actually, you're giving us more credit than we're due. We aim for Monday.
Yes.
It just doesn't happen on Monday.
Yes.
A lot of the time, it just takes a bit. But yeah, Adam's right.
Ideally, that's the process.
Yeah, ideally, and ideally we would have it ready Monday morning. But yeah, it's got to go to the download center. It's got to go to the store. We've got to make sure the service deployment that matches it is deployed around the whole world before we release desktop.
Yep.
And then we wait until all those things are done before we push the blog live. And that's why some people you'll see it appear before the blog's out, and that can take 24 hours or so.
Yep. All right. Sergey's got a question here, and we're bumping up against the clock too. In summer 2019, there was an announcement of a container for visuals. I saw the presentation of it. What happened to this initiative? Not sure if that's the grouping or.
Yeah, this is probably grouping. So I think what we demoed back at MBAS, I guess, was the ability to multi-select a bunch of visuals and group them together so you could move and resize them all together. Excuse me. And we shipped that, and there were a couple of other enhancements to it, which we were thinking about, where you could have a container that was a scrollable group. I think there might have been another mode for it as well. We put it out there. We got feedback from people, and we just thought, hey, there's a couple of people asking for this, but there's not a huge number of people who wanted it. So Sergey, it's great that you've given us that feedback. I assume you're asking what happened to it because you want it. Go stick it onto the ideas forum if it's not there already.
Yep.
And it's just something that, hey, we can think about going and adding in a later date. We come back to these features that we've already shipped every now and again and kind of say, hey, is there anything else that we need to add to it?
Excellent. All right. So Chatmaster C has spoken. The queue is clear. So if you're a member of Guy in a Cube, we are now in member-only chat mode, so everyone can still watch. Please feel free to donate and help the cause to help feed people. It's very much appreciated. We are going to continue our game of, if we say it depends is the answer to a question, Will is going to be donating. Everyone is happy to participate in that as well. And members can get their questions in. We'll get that queued up. We do have a couple pre-submitted questions, so we will go ahead and hit those first. That is one of the member benefits that you can get at the visitor or producer level. So the first one, and Jason Wiley, thank you so much for becoming a supporter. Very much appreciated. The first one's from Dims and Facts. On a premium capacity, when a specific workload is disabled, for example, paginated reports, how's the resource distributed back to the other workloads? Patrick, do you want to take a first stab at that? Or Will, even?
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm going to say
Chris Finland and I actually just
firstly, the most important thing about this to understand is it depends. So it depends on a couple different things, right? So are we talking Gen 1 or Gen 2? Because those things behave differently now. The other thing is it depends on the workload, right? So if we're talking Gen 1, paginated reports, if whatever memory was set for that workload, that's just how much memory it reserved on that capacity. right? Regardless of whether you were using it or not. And then if you lowered that or disabled a workload, then that memory is released back to the other workloads. And then my understanding from a Gen 1 perspective is past that for like AI and data flows and whatnot is that data sets kind of took priority there. But on Gen 2, all of that has kind of changed, and it's really like you don't even need to worry about it anymore because memory is not really a factor that's necessarily concerned with on Gen 2. So, yep, good question. Good question. All right, next one. Next one is from Kendall. I have 15 visuals on my report. I'd like to display the visual for each of the 15 regions one at a time. Instead of creating 15 buttons with 15 bookmarks, I want to list these 15 regions in a slicer and have each visual turn on and off based on selection from the slicer. Is that possible using DAX? I don't know, Will, if you want to take that one first.
It's probably another it depends, because it's not really clear what you're trying to do in the report here.
Yes.
Currently there's no way of controlling the visibility of a visual through DAX. But I'm kind of questioning why you need to do that. If you want to be able to select something in DAX and have that affect the visuals, it feels like just a filter.
Mm-hmm.
If you're having to replicate visuals that you're then going to select based on something in DAX, couldn't you just put all of that? Is there a way to model your data such that you just have all of that data in one visual and you're just filtering down to the different regions or whichever one else you said? If particularly if it's the same visual repeated 15 times for each of those regions, that feels like you should be able to model the data in such a way that it's just filtering it down rather than completely swapping the visual out, unless you want a different type of visual. Something else that might be worth thinking about, if you're doing that because your end users want a different view, is look at the my mind's gone blank. The visual personalization feature that personalized this visual. I forget exactly what we ended up calling it. This is the thing that even in viewing mode, like when somebody's just reading a report, they get the little sort of fly out thing on the visual that lets them swap fields in and out, or apply different filters, or even change the type of visual. That might help if that's what you want to do with it. If the idea is to give your users flexibility of how they look at the report.
Yep. I like it, and we definitely need more details on that, Kendall. But it sounds like we would just definitely love to understand that scenario more of why you need to go that route. So. All right, another member question that was sent in, but it was a video question from Chris Wagner, but he didn't. He had some background noises going on and didn't have a chance to re-record. But his question was, "Where's dark mode?"
It's in the backlog. Where is it? It's in the backlog. Yeah, we see that a lot. It's on the list. It's on the ideas forum. It's creeping its way up there. It's not that we're not going to do it. It's just that there's a ton of stuff that we think we hear from everybody else is more important. I know people love it, and I know people want dark mode, but just a case of prioritizing it.
Alex Dupree says, Alex Dupler says, don't need it. Don't need it. All right. Let's move on here. Greg. So when we hear Power BI described as PowerPoint for your data, how does that make us feel? Using the royal we in honor of Will.
Thanks for that. I'm not quite sure.
Makes me feel good.
I'm not sure where you're coming from with this. Yeah, I was going to say. So the reason that we went for this, the reason that we have this PowerPoint for data kind of vision or mission was that we've got how many folks out there using Power BI, and we want more people to use Power BI, obviously, and we know that there's a very much larger number of people out there using Office, using PowerPoint. And if we can help people who are using Office and Excel and PowerPoint and Word and everything, if we can help them have a very smooth and familiar transition when they come and start using Power BI, that's great. It makes it easier for people to learn. It makes it easier for people to pick up and get value from the data they're pulling into it. And one of the ways that we can do that is by reusing all of those features and providing those features that they're used to. It's why we added things like grouping and the red snap lines and the new ribbon and all these things to just make it look and feel like an Office application. We chose PowerPoint because it's kind of the most graphical of them, and we didn't want it to be so. I was going to say overwhelming as Excel, but Excel has a certain what's the phrase I'm looking for? Like a certain cachet or a certain skill set associated with it, and we don't want people to feel intimidated by I've got to go and learn all those complex Excel formulas to be able to be successful with Power BI. And that's kind of why we think about Power BI. So it makes us feel good, and that's the idea.
Yes, Patrick, how does it make you feel? You're muted. Learn to use your Go XLR.
Sorry. Because I was typing and I didn't want you to say,
I appreciate that.
Oh, you forgot to mute because you're typing.
Yeah.
You forgot to mute because you're typing and your typing is so loud. No, I like it. No, I like it. I think it's great, because if you associate any of the Office products with something else you're using, everybody uses the Office product. The world uses the Office products. And so we associate it with Power BI Desktop, and it's like, well, the world's using Power BI Desktop. So I think it's great.
Nice. All right, Michael Tenner. How often do you actually release on Monday?
We're not as good at it as we used to be.
Yeah.
We did used to do it quite regularly. I'd say now it's probably 10% of the time we actually get it out on Monday.
Yeah.
But we're okay with that.
That's okay. It's
okay.
It's okay.
I'd rather it came out on. Go on. As long as it's within.
No, go. You go. You're the guest.
I was going to say, I would rather it came out on the Friday or even the following week, but had, one or two fewer bugs in it. That's the reason we delay it. If it slips, it's because we found a bug the week before and we're waiting for somebody to fix it. I'd rather do that than ship it as long as have extra bugs.
As long as it happens. As long as it happens in the month.
Yes.
I'm happy with it. So.
Cool. All right. Rishi's got a question. When is the Power Automate connector coming to Power BI Desktop? I'm assuming the Power Automate Visual.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know of any plans for a Power Automate connector, but there's a Power Automate visual in the works. The Power Automate team are the ones who are working on it. So it depends.
Yes.
Nice.
We're helping them out, but
pop-up things.
I know.
We should have got a noise or an animation. Actually, he knew that was going to be.
Oh no!
He knew that was going to be. Soon. It's not too long to wait.
Cool. They're working on it.
The voice is back.
So Laura is asking, what roadmap item for 2021 are you most looking forward to releasing?
That's a really good question. That presupposes that we've got a roadmap ready for 2021.
Well, we're talking fiscal year 2021, right?
Sure, yeah, right. And technically, small multiples and composite models are only going to be previewing in December, so we will release them as generally available sometime in 2021. I think for me, one of the things that we've had a ton of feedback from in the last 6 months to a year is around visuals, and we've been spending a lot of time on some really big projects, the composite model stuff, small multiples, but also we've been doing a ton of accessibility work. We've been having to do some engineering systems work around. We use the AngularJS framework for Power BI and upgrading to the newest version of that. And that's taken a lot of time away from our visuals team. And I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to get back to actually shipping visuals features and prioritizing some of that stuff again. So I'm really looking forward to that coming again next year and having some more focus on that.
Nice.
There's also some new stuff, like totally net new, like completely new areas of Power BI that we've started investigating that I hope will come out in 2021. And those are just taking us in a very interesting direction and some really kind of new, exciting capabilities.
It's a brave new world. Yes.
But don't ask me any more questions about that because.
Okay, because I was going to ask you. I was going to say, can you elaborate a little bit, Will? But okay.
No, I can't.
Matthew chiming in there that you're dropping some cruel hints, my friend.
There's always fun new stuff.
Can you elaborate?
Yes. Yes, there's always new stuff.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate, Will? Can you elaborate?
I think he said no on that. That was a hard no.
He's like, no.
That was a hard no.
That's not an defense. That is not a defense. That's just
Michael Mays. If we donate enough money, can you elaborate? No, but feel free to donate.
Feel try. Yeah, let's try. Let's see how much.
Yeah,
money.
let's test the theory. All right.
Well, okay. It depends. It depends how much money you want to donate. That is it.
All right.
All you need to do, Michael, is talk to your Microsoft account manager and buy, I don't know, however many premium nodes.
Let's go with 500 cores of premium and start there.
Sure, sounds good. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Santosh, thank you for becoming a supporter. And also, Augusto, I saw that you became a supporter as well. Thank you so much. All right. Thomas had a question, our friend from Sweden. Desktop usually takes 2 to 3 days after the release before they see it in Sweden. It's interesting.
Yeah, it can do. So you've probably seen how many languages we localize Power BI into. It's like 44 different languages, and it gets deployed to all of the different data centers around the world, and they're all on slightly different schedules.
Yeah.
The data center, the cloud stuff is like we push it out in one of the US regions first, and make sure that everything's okay, and then we roll it out to various different places on a different schedule. And for the download center release, there's like a separate approval process for each of the different languages, and sometimes a couple of them get stuck. Ironically, it's the Romanian one that seems to get stuck most often. It's ironic because our engineering manager and a bunch of the engineers are Romanian, and we always say it's their fault. It's not. It's just some vagaries in the system. So things can take a couple of days for it to get out around the world.
Yep. And that's the same thing
It's
for like
personal.
even service deployments. Like, so when they push it, there's processes for doing it, and it takes it. They don't go out to all data centers right at the same exact time. It's a rolling item. So I can tell you, like, when they say, oh, it's coming, you should have it by the end of the week. I'll tell you the data center that the guy in a cube tenant is in, we always get it on like Saturday, Sunday. So we're always at the tail end. And it's funny because I think we're in West US. So I was like, that's interesting.
Well, that's the last one. Because West US is one of the biggest.
That explains it.
It's the last one.
That
They
explains
do.
it.
I think they do like South Central US first. I forget exactly, but
Yeah. So, Catherine, thank you for becoming a supporter. Much appreciated. Okay, let's see here. There was one I had. So Adam B's got a question. This is an interesting question. When will we get the ability to modify range start, range end parameters used for incremental refresh? So, for example, use a different base date from the current date time.
I think Matthew commented on this.
Is there a workaround for this?
You can do this. You can do this with the XMLA endpoint. There's a property you can set for effective date, like the effective date for the on the endpoint, and you can set it, and then it'll change. So if I set the effective date to, last month, and I say, refresh, and my policy is the last 12 months is going to be based, everything's going to be driven by last month. And so you could set it, but why? Why do you want to do that? You can use the XMLA endpoint and process your partitions the way you want to process them. So I'm curious, why do you want to change that date?
So one thing I'm wondering in this is, we say current date time. Is the question more about, can I use date instead of date time for the range start, range end, or
you could do it.
Yeah,
you could use date. You just have to write a custom function in Power Query to take your date and just add time to it, and then go in your function and then change your function. You can use anything you want.
Yeah.
As that filter. You'll just have to translate or convert that value to a date time. You can do whatever you want. It's flexible. There's a video that I did.
Yeah, Adam B says a company doesn't allow XMLA endpoint. I don't know if you're on premium or not. I'm interested to know why they don't allow that. If you don't have that, that's going to be problematic, right? Because once it's deployed, you need to.
But you still could do it in the desktop. So if you didn't want to use, if you were trying to set the effective date, you can't because you need the XMLA endpoint. But if you're trying to use other things between date times, like I did a video about using smart keys with integers, you should go watch that video because it shows you how to use other things besides the date time to set your incremental refresh policy.
Yep. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna jump around here a little bit. There were kind of so Chewy's got one here. So is it an icon or a logo? Just kidding. Actual question is, does Microsoft support running Power BI desktop from Citrix?
Do you know, I think I'd rather answer, is it an icon or a logo?
Hang on to that thought. Hold that thought.
So this is a really tricky one. We don't have a Citrix environment to test. We run some smoke tests against using Power BI Desktop in VMs and under Microsoft virtual environments, but we don't go and try third-party solutions to test it against. We will ask you to reproduce things in a regular environment rather than doing it through any app VDI thing. That said, I have heard of a ton of customers who are very successful with it. And it works seamlessly for them. The biggest issues that I see are usually resource contention. In case you haven't noticed, Power BI Desktop's quite memory hungry. And so if you've got 4, 10, however many users all trying to use desktop on one box through, or at least from one VDI server, the resource contention can be a problem. So your mileage may vary. It should work, and most people have been successful with it. But if you have specific problems, we'll usually ask you to repro them outside of that VDI environment.
You got to have enough resources there. That's the biggest challenge that I know most of the people that I talk to doing it, because I'm taking, and I think Alex even mentioned that, I'm taking from someone else's, VDI that's running the Citrix client. So you got to make sure you have enough memory, enough CPUs out there to do this type of stuff. That's it. It should work, but you got to have enough.
All right. Cool. And then Mark is following that one up with, can you explain what a logo is versus an icon?
Okay.
Here we go.
I am paraphrasing our branding team. So the Microsoft brand team has some very clear guidelines around usage of logos. And there are actually only, I think, 4 logos at Microsoft. There's the Microsoft logo, the little 4 squares with the word. There's the Xbox one, which is the round thing with the word Xbox. There's Bing, which is the Microsoft Bing. And I think maybe the Office one has, I think there is an Office 365 logo, which is the sort of orangey thing with the word Office 365. And you'll notice they're all icon and a word. I think that's kind of like a thing, right? If it's just the symbol itself, it's an icon. And icons are used to launch products. They're used in products, like in the operating system. Things you click on, they're icons. On a website, if it's just like used in a diagram or something, it's an icon. It's not a logo. Only becomes a logo once it's part of a brand, and it's almost always the thing with a word next to it. And you'll know in all the official Power BI stuff, there is no thing with a Power BI next to it. That is not a logo. That's why it's an icon, not a logo.
Excellent. Love it. Patrick. All right. Nice guy's got a... Patrick's like, I just don't care.
I mean, truly in my heart, I don't really either. It's just a fun thing that people tend to argue about, and so I go on board.
And I also think part of this is Will likes kind of stoking the flame a little bit on Twitter.
Oh, 100%.
There's fun. Yeah. There's fun in that. So yes. Yeah. All right. So Nice Guy's got one. Any plans to incorporate a Code Editor IDE like interface natively into Power BI for DAX?
There is just this little formula bar at the top. When you click a measure, you get a little formula. No, that's not great. Not immediately. We've toyed around with the idea a lot, but with things like Tabular Editor and DAX Studio and the other tools that are out there, it's like the community does such a good job of building great interfaces for doing that. It means like our incentive to go and build that ourselves is lower because it would take resources away from other things. And to be honest, the guy who there's like 2 engineers on our team who really know the DAX editor area. And the last 6 to 12 months, all they've been doing is composite models. And I know you'd rather have that. So that's the resource contention that we're under. Yeah. So it's like long term, maybe.
Yep. And then I know Daniel just did a kind of a webinar live stream yesterday on Tabular Editor 3 over on Reed Haven's BI channel. So definitely go check that out if you want to learn about what's coming there. And it's got great, like in terms of that full-on IDE type experience, that is a great option for you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. I watched that. It's going to be nice. I can't wait till it comes out.
All right, Will's got a question here. Personal bookmarks are great, but is it possible to hide the other report bookmarks for users on the service?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
I mean, your personal bookmarks are personal. So you're saying, I want to... I'm trying to understand. Trying to pick apart the question, right? So you're saying I've got a set of bookmarks in a report and I don't want to let users see those, but I want to let them see their own personal bookmarks.
That's how I read it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. That's the first time I've heard that asked.
Yeah.
The ask
I'm trying to understand, like, what are you using the bookmarks for in the report, such that you don't want the users to see it?
That's a good question. The other thing that I've heard from some customers on the bookmark piece is like what they want to be able to do is if they create a personal bookmark, they want to be able to share that personal bookmark. So like if they're prepping typically the scenario is that they're prepping a report for a specific view for like an exec. They don't want to have the exec to kind of fumble around. They just want to see directly like what it is they want. So that's the one I've typically heard. But I've never heard to hide the main bookmarks in there. So and then Will said some older reports have bookmarks are a little rough. We did not expect them to see them. So
So can you please add Chris Finland's question to the... Chris Finland showed up to the live stream.
Okay.
Can you please add his question there?
All right.
Can you...
When are you going to stop dragging your feet and help get the paginator report visual shipped in desktop? Is that perhaps an it depends?
It depends.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends.
Okay.
All right. Yay.
Yes. Good job, Chris.
Good job, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Let me know how help you need, dude.
Okay.
You know where I am.
Back to the normal.
All right. Let's see
This
here.
is not. So hang on. That was a work question. That's not fair, Chris. It's Saturday morning. That was a work question.
All right. I'm trying to find one that's. Let's see here.
That was good.
So Kevin Arnold's got one. What causes Power Query parameters to be grayed out and not able to change on the service?
They have to be certain data types.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Specific data types.
I believe it's got to be text or... Yeah, I think it has to be text.
And then...
The documentation actually has limitations on it. Yeah. Yep.
I've got a funny feeling I feel like there's another limitation in there as well, like something about how dynamic it is. Maybe the parameters aren't dynamic. Yeah.
Let's look it up.
Or maybe if it's a parameter that's populated
maybe,
from a query.
Yeah. Hey, Alex, can you get the link to the limitations
come on, Alex.
in the documentation? You got to use your Hey Alex command, Patrick.
It's Alex. He probably knows this off the top of his head.
He probably already put it in the chat way back when, and he's just got it on standby.
So he's already answered it somewhere.
All right. Cool. Let's move it on. Oh, there he is. Limits. There it is in the chat. Alex, the Hey Alex command worked. And what's it? Wait, that did not say that. Oh wait, I'll review. I don't see the limits in there.
It's the same doc I was reading.
Yeah, but I don't see limits in there. Review the parameter settings and make changes if any grayed out fields aren't editable. Well, sure, that makes sense. But what are the actual reasons why? I thought we had one that actually said like why it would be grayed out.
I didn't
first
find
paragraph.
It
blah blah blah. For example.
Hey, Will posted another thing about his bookmarks questions. Wanted to know how to control what bookmarks are visible. Ultimately, I don't think there is a way. I can't think of anything. It's a good ideas forum post. Go and have a look on there. See if you can see anything for the bookmark around bookmarks that would help control it. Yep. We don't have like a security model.
Yeah, there's no model there, and there's not like a hidden visible toggle on bookmarks specifically. So yeah. All right, so it did call out the data types in that doc of which ones were usable. So it could be a data type issue. It's generally what I've seen as to why it wouldn't be available. And then as Patrick called out, the range end, range start for incremental refresh won't be available. So, all right. Let's see what else we got. Let's get rid of that one. So Augusto's got one. Do I need to add my SQL sources to Purview for them to show up on data sets? I imagine I would be able to see names at least. So I know Matthew highlighted the announcement doc for the Purview, which is the data catalog items and integration for that. I don't actually know the specifics around that. I think Matthew may have commented on it already. So in general, so to use a SQL source in a data set is not reliant on adding it to Purview. So I'll say that. In terms of what data sources are available, I don't know if there's going to be GUI updates in like desktop for connecting to sources in Purview.
Not at the moment.
Yeah.
We might.
Cool.
I don't know.
All right. So yeah, right now I would say like I don't know that there's dependency on that.
I guess we need to look at Purview, right? I guess we
do need to look at Purview. Yes. Yeah, we should be educated about it. Yes. So,
yeah.
Yes.
I guess so. I guess that's what I'll do next week.
Yes. Yes. All right. Let's see here.
No, I will not. No, I will not.
All right. Michael Mays. I don't know what you were commenting about, but Michael Mays
Purview.
asked.
I'm not looking at Purview next week.
Okay. Are the Power BI and Power Query teams different?
Good question. Sort of. So there was a time when we were part and parcel of the same team. We got split out into sort of a separate team so there is no like PQ team as such. We call them a data integration team because they produce connectors for the whole of the Power Platform. So they look after the Power BI as well as the Power Apps and automate connectors as well. A lot of them use common code base, and some of them are independent, and some of them are optimized for data analysis type connections versus like row by row transactional connections. But I don't know if you know Miguel Lopez. He's been around the connectivity space for as long as I've been on the team. He still runs kind of all that area. You know, the in desktop, the two windows, like the Power Query window and the main desktop window, it spans across those teams, but there's a lot of stuff that kind of gets integrated across the two. And so the desktop team, we look after like the way that when you rename a query in PQ, it updates the table in the AS model. And we do like all the data type mapping between them and the config resolution for naming of columns and that sort of stuff. So there's a lot that the desktop team own in the PQ world, even though like the core M engine is owned by somebody else.
Yep.
I don't know. It's not really an
It's not really. Yeah. I was kind of thinking it's not really, and it depends. So, all right.
Nope.
Cool.
Can you still hear me? My headphones told me I was disconnected.
I can. Okay, we can still hear you. We can still hear you. Yes. All right. Hey, it looks like Wolfgang just did a thing. There was a super chat. That's interesting. All right. So we'll grab this one. Comments save also a bookmark. Is it planned to only show comments to other users if they have access to the bookmark data row level security? So row level security always
I follow you.
takes precedence. So even if you're going on the bookmark, it's gonna only display.
I think
data.
I know what he's asking for, though.
Okay.
Because it's like, hey, if I'm looking at some data for, let's say I'm looking at data for the UK and I've got RLS applied so I can only see data for the UK, I save a comment. Now, Wolfgang goes and opens it, and I'm going to assume he's from somewhere else in Europe based on the name. He's got access to see a different set of data, different set of countries' data. I think he can see that comment because there's no security applied to the comments.
Right.
But it doesn't make sense for him because he doesn't have access to the data underneath, because the comment might make some reference to the UK. Well, I don't see the UK. So good question. Is it planned? Not at the moment, but stick it on the ideas forum. I imagine this is a conversation that somebody had at some point when they were building comments. The team doesn't own that. I'm not sure exactly who does.
Excellent. All right. So let's see here. So Chatmaster C was standing by on counting everyone, and her tally was 6. I thought it was more than that, but I will go with Chatmaster.
I thought it was like.
All right.
I thought it was like 10.
Yeah, we'll let you go with that.
Yeah, so great, 6 is fine. So I said at the start, I chucked $25 in for each time we had one of those. It depends. So what's that? $300? Is that the math right there? Yeah, that must be right.
Sure.
Is that right?
We'll go with that.
Sure, fine, whatever.
Yes. All right. And I'm showing outside of Will's donation right now, I'm showing a total of $822. So thank you so much for that.
Awesome.
That is amazing. So thank you everyone for hanging out with us. Will, thank you for joining us. It was very, very nice to have you on board. I'm glad we could get you in before the year was out. And then just everyone, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, stay safe, enjoy time with your families. This is the last live stream for Guy in a Cube. We will be back up in January. So looking forward to that. Any final words, Will?
That's it. Thank you very much for having me on. It's been good fun. We'll do this again sometime.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Patrick, last words for the year?
Nothing.
Okay, all right. And then we have our normal videos next week. So, all right, everyone, stay safe, and we'll see you next year. All right, bye-bye.
Take it easy.
Oh, here you are, face to face in this trashy bar. Another glass and I am going places. Makes me laugh about the irony of everything. I like the way you're thinking, I don't really care.